You're watching City Channel 4, your window to our community.
I'd like to call to order the October 18th regular formal meeting of the Iowa City City Council. Roll call.
Botchway.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
Dickens.
Here.
Mims. Here. Taylor. Here. Thomas.
Here.
Throgmorton.
Here. Item 2, Student Leadership Awards. From Mark Twain Elementary, we have 3 individuals. I wonder if you could come up, please.
All the louder.
Good to see you again. We had a good conversation just a few minutes ago. All right, so we have Student Leadership Awards for 3 individuals. The award, itself says exactly the same thing. So I'm going to read the award for Elijah first. You're Elijah, right? Yeah. And then I'll just say your name and your name. But after I read the award for you, I'd like for you to read your own statement, okay? And then your statement, and then your statement. Okay, so Student Leadership Award. For your outstanding qualities of leadership within Mark Twain Elementary, as well as the community, and for your sense of responsibility and helpfulness to others, we recognize Elijah Morris as an outstanding student leader. Your community is proud of you. Presented by the Iowa City City Council, October 2016, signed by me. So, Elijah, here's yours. Would you read your statement, please?
Hello, I'm Elijah, and I think leadership is important because without it, no one would have anything to look up to. Leadership is necessary because the world would be a horrible place without leadership. Leaders inspire other people to become their better selves. I have been a school council member, a conflict manager, and a safety patrol. I set a good example because I'm on time for school and I churn in all of my homework on time. No one is perfect, but that does not mean you can't strive to be. Thank you for your time.
Well done, Elijah. Okay. The next award goes to Hayat Mustafa. So it just says the same thing, so I won't read it again. Would you read your statement, please?
Hi, my name is Hayat. I'd like to thank my teachers in Mark Twain Elementary for helping me receive this leadership award tonight. Leaders are important because they act as role models. What makes me a leader is that I'm very devoted to my school and community. I'm a conflict manager, which is when you help students with problems. I've been on student council for 2 years, and I love to read to the younger children. Outside of school, I babysit and play the violin in orchestra. Our motto at Twain is we are a respectful, responsible, caring community, and I make sure that it is.
Congratulations, Hyatt. I love the fact that you're involved in conflict resolution. That's a good thing. Okay, and the last is for Anthony Rodriguez. Anthony, would you read your statement? Wait a minute.
Hello, my name is Tony Rodriguez. I go to Mark Twain School. I think being a leader is being someone people can trust and also being a person who treats others well. A leader can also be your best friend. At Mark Twain, we have lots of new kids, and we need kids and teachers to treat them like they matter. So when they leave our school, they won't feel like a success. A leader is that type of person. I try to be that person. I do my best to help my family and my community.
All right, well done. Y'all attend a great school. Mark Twain's really terrific, and the renovation that took place recently is really an asset for the community, an asset for the neighborhood, and it's a terrific facility for learning, and it sounds like you're doing great down there, so keep up the good work. Okay, so I bet there's some proud parents out there. And grandparents, there you go. Okay, so Congratulations to all three of you. Technology. Okay, the next item is proclamations. We have two proclamations to read tonight. One, it concerns United Nations Day. Good night, everybody. Good night. Buenos dias. Buenas noches, I should say. All right. Whereas the United Nations was founded at the end of World War II to try to bring together a world devastated by war and injustice, and whereas the United Nations continues to provide a forum for countries to work together for security and development, to make progress toward combating disease, hunger, and poverty, to support action to combat climate change, and to encourage quality education for all. And whereas, toward these ends, the United Nations has recently adopted the following 17 Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. 1. No poverty. 2. Zero hunger. 3. Good health and well-being. 4. Quality education. 5. Gender equality. 6. Clean water and sanitation. 7. Affordable and clean energy. 8. Decent work and economic growth. 9. Industry, innovation, and infrastructure. 10. Reduced inequalities. 11. Sustainable cities and communities. 12. Responsible consumption and production. 13. Climate action. 14. Life below water. 15. Life on land. 16. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. And 17. Partnerships for the goals. And whereas the United Nations works through a variety of agencies to provide peacekeepers in war-ravaged areas, to support refugees from wars and discrimination, and to encourage international cooperation. And whereas the United Nations promotes values and practices cherished by Iowans, including respect for life, the peaceful resolution of conflict, assistance to those in need, human dignity, and self-government. Now, therefore, I, James A. Throgmorton, Mayor of Iowa City, do hereby proclaim October 24, 2016 to be United Nations Day, and encourage everyone to join in observing this day and focusing on the vision of a world filled with peace and justice brought about by the cooperation of all nations.
Here to accept the proclamation representing the Iowa United Nations Association, Board Member Andrea Cohen.
Well, the UN is nothing if not ambitious. On behalf of the Iowa United Nations Association, thank you. The Iowa UNA has a very simple mission. We seek to connect Iowans to global issues. In 1953, after Eleanor Roosevelt spoke in Des Moines to an overflow crowd, the Iowa UNA was born to carry on what has proven to be decades of dedication to, promotion of, and education about the United Nations. We provide educational programming on topics such as climate change. Only last week, some 200 countries, including the United States, signed a binding agreement limiting hydrofluorocarbon emissions. They're used in refrigerators and air conditioners for novices like me, which follows the unanimous COP21 agreement signed in Paris last year. We also coordinate humanitarian fundraisers in Iowa through UN programs like UNICEF and the UN Refugee Agency, and events such as Nothing But Nets to help end malaria, Hike for Refugees, Night of 1,000 Dinners. And we advocate for constructive United States participation and leadership in the world today. On Sunday, October 23rd, you are all cordially invited to Celebrating the World's Children, a community-wide event featuring song, dance, music, and spoken word pieces performed by children from several national and ethnic traditions. To sweeten the deal, there will be international desserts. Monday, October 24th is UN Day. It's the anniversary of the birth of the United Nations. At the UN International School in New York, we wore our national costumes representing some 120 countries. Perhaps you can tell where I come from. The next day, the 25th, former ambassador to Botswana, John Lang, will be speaking on global health and sustainable development in Iowa City. Finally, Halloween's coming. We hope you will participate in Trick or Treat for UNICEF. The well-known orange boxes are available in our office in Old Brick. The Iowa UNA thinks global, working globally. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. So the next proclamation concerns National Disability Employment Awareness Month, October. I got to change the glasses again. Whereas Iowa City workplaces welcome the talents of all people, including those with disabilities, as a critical part of our efforts to build an inclusive community and strong economy. And whereas Iowa City wishes to raise awareness about disability employment and celebrate the many contributions to our communities and affirm Iowa City's commitment to an inclusive community. And whereas Iowa City is recognizing National Disability Employment Awareness Month this October, now therefore I, James A. Throgmorton, Mayor of Iowa City, do hereby proclaim October 2016 to be National Disability Employment Awareness Month to highlight the benefits of disabilities in the workplace. The Center for Disabilities and Development, the Iowa City Human Rights Commission, and Iowa Vocational Rehabilitation will be sponsoring a complimentary workshop for local employers on Thursday, November the 3rd. Is there someone to accept this proclamation?
Here to accept the proclamation is Adele Adams, Human Rights Commission member.
On behalf of Human Rights Commission, I would like to thank the mayor, and I accept the National Disability Employment Awareness for this month. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Adil. Okay, item 4, consider adoption of the consent calendar as presented or amended.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Botchway, seconded by Mims. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call.
Botchway?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yes.
Mims?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Throgmorton?
Yes. Item 5, community comment for items not on the agenda. So anybody can address any topic that's not on the regular published agenda. I'd like to ask you to keep your comments to not more than 5 minutes, and we'll go from there. Good evening.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, my name is Gerardo Sandoval. I want to take this opportunity to introduce myself. I'm the new Executive Director of Public Access Television. I also want to take this opportunity to thank you for your ongoing support of Public Access Television, Channel 18, here in Iowa City, and to invite you to our first Bike-In Theater. Well, we're bringing Bike-In Theater back this Friday. It'll be in our parking lot at 7 p.m., and in support of this event, we'll have the Bike Library, Uptown Bills, Little Village, and of course we'll have our other neighbor. These are our neighbors actually in the South Dubuque area. And another neighbor we just discovered is Tacos Don Diego. So we'll have a taco truck there and popcorn. It's a bike-in theater, but it's open to anybody. You can walk there if you need be. Again, it's a free B horror film. The Milpitas Monster will be there. And like I said, popcorns, tacos, and a free movie. We'll have parking for your bicycle. And again, we're encouraging, bicycling, but you don't need to bike there. Parking might be limited. And it's free this Friday at 7 p.m. Again, I want to thank the city for all your ongoing support of public access television. Thank you.
Oh, what am I clapping for? Excuse me. Thank you, Gerardo. Yeah, thank you. I got carried away. My bad.
Hello, Council. My name is Kyle Seek. I'm here representing a local food truck, local burrito, as well as Iowa City Mobile Vending Association, a new trade association to represent the community and mobile vendors as a whole in Iowa City, in the corridor. So I introduced a memo into your packet suggesting or asking for us to consider the mobile vending ordinance that you guys passed about 1.5 years ago, which I thank you for considering and for allowing food trucks to be downtown under certain circumstances. We're here, and I am here to ask you to consider new ideas and new opportunities for this blossoming economy, which represents minorities, alumni, women, and community members trying to create a business and grow their lives. So what I'm asking you guys to consider is locations and times which are not currently allowed for food trucks. I've spent the last month working with the Iowa City Downtown Association, outreaching to local businesses, trying to hear their comments and concerns, talking to citizens. I would say 9 out of 10 people like the idea of food trucks. There are concerns from certain business owners, and just to briefly address those concerns, I would like to say we're trying to foster an environment that creates a symbiotic local food economy. I, as a food truck, would never want to set up directly in front of an existing restaurant because that's just not a good code of ethics. What I'm here to identify is that there's parts of our downtown district which are not being utilized and are not offering food options to the late night populace. And I would ask you to consider options and have an ongoing conversation with our association, the downtown district, existing businesses, as well as your staff to discuss creative ideas for how we can move forward and create a more dynamic local food economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. I should tell you that, and the audience, that during our work session this evening, we tentatively agreed to place this topic on our next work session agenda for November the 1st. It might be there are too many topics. We have to address that later on this evening. But we did agree to discuss the proposal. And if I remember correctly, we asked Jeff to put together a memo about some of the background pertaining to what's been done up till now, right?
That's correct.
Was there anything else we had agreed to request? That's all I remember. Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Kyle. All right, anybody else care to address us on any other topic not on this evening's agenda? Good evening, Chrissy.
Good evening. I'm Chrissy Canganelli, Executive Director of Shelter House. Just here tonight to thank you for approving the special amendment, or special admission, excuse me, for housing vouchers during your last council meeting. It's a tremendous move for us and for the Fusion Housing First project. The special admission gives priority for tenants, would-be tenants for this project once we get it built, and provides relief to the normal expectations that they otherwise would face, which would be barriers to them qualifying for housing vouchers, frankly. Again, this is working for a population that is the chronically homeless population. So this guarantees revenue, it guarantees rent, a rent source for the individuals, and I thank you for that leadership, and in particular want to thank Steve Rackus for instigating this conversation, thinking of it, bringing it to the commission for his leadership and his partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Chrissy. Roger, you're up.
Hello, my name is Roger Knight. I would just like to kind of re-speak on the things I've brought up in the past. We should have a blanket noise ordinance across the city. I know bars are probably fighting to not even have it come up on the agenda. But, you know, there's been so many talks about how to stop Iowa being one of the biggest party schools in the country. And if you limit some of these put a noise ordinance out there that even affects the bars or anywhere in this city, then it's a blanket. It's not favoritism for anywhere or any business or whatnot, that starting about 10 o'clock at night, it should be fair, no matter if you're downtown or on the very edge of Iowa City, that we should be working to have it where there is, what's fair for any citizen in Iowa City. And to continue on with what's fair is how unfair Robert A. Lee Rec Center is for someone like me in a wheelchair. Go take a look, and even if you need to, we have a spare wheelchair at my apartment complex. I challenge any one of you to try to get around and go to the restroom. Try to get ready to go for a swim. Really look at the issues that surround Robert A. Lee. It's nice that the door's open with the handicap button. Good luck getting into the bathroom if you have to go. Because these are some serious issues. And, about downtown, you got those who like to go to the bars, which is fine, whatever, that's legal, but they are taking care of business everywhere. This is the city that you want, allowing the offenses against the ADA, offenses of noise, offenses of urination. This is the city you want because it's a college town? Think about that for a second. Are you wanting to sit up there being proud of that's the city you're leading? Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Anybody else? Okay, I don't see anybody else who wants to speak, so we'll turn to item number 6, planning and zoning matters. Item 6A, precinct boundaries, ordinance amending 193B of the Code of Ordinances to add recently annexed property to precincts 8, 10, and 24, second consideration.
Staff has requested expedited action.
Correct.
I move that the rule requiring that ordinances must be considered and voted on for passage at 2 council meetings prior to the meeting at which it is to be finally passed be suspended, that the second consideration and vote be waived, and that the ordinance be voted on for final passage at this time.
Second.
Moved by Mims, seconded by Botchway. Discussion? I don't hear any. Roll call.
Cole?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yes.
Mims?
Yes.
Taylor? Yes. Thomas?
Yes.
Throgmorton?
Yes.
Botchway?
Yes.
Move final consideration
Motion
at this time.
carries 7-0, sorry.
Sorry about that. Move final adoption at this time.
Second.
Moved by Mims, seconded by Botchway. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Dickens?
Yes.
Mims?
Yes.
Taylor? Yes. Thomas?
Yes.
Throgmorton?
Yes.
Botchway?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 7, Natural Areas Master Plan. Resolution approving, authorizing, and directing the mayor to execute and the city clerk to attest an agreement by and between the City of Iowa City and Applied Ecological Services of Prior Lake, Minnesota, to provide consultant services for Iowa City Natural Areas Master Plan Project. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Dickens, seconded by Botchway. Julie Seidel Johnson, could you describe this for us and give us whatever background's necessary?
Sure. This is hiring a consultant to come in and look at all of our natural areas. There's about 1,100 acres of city-owned property out there that's wetlands, stream bank, natural forest, in prairie areas. So the consultants will come in and first of all do a survey of those areas, determine how healthy they are or unhealthy they are, and then help us with recommended practices and a plan for the next 10 years of how to make those areas better. We'll also end up with a very good mapping, GIS mapping, so that we can use it towards our STAR communities criteria.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Julie?
Julie, what areas fall under the 1,100 acres? At least the larger elements?
Sure. Some of the larger ones would be, of course, the Sycamore Wetlands, the Waterworks Park area. Some of Terry Trueblood are some of the larger ones. And then I have a list here of about 20, 25 park areas that have smaller, maybe 1 acre to 3 acres that would fall under this. So if you think of it, areas within parks that are more passive recreation or don't have the active recreation areas in them that we would manage as natural areas.
Before our meeting, Julie, you were, I asked you where this originated, whose idea it was, basically. I think you suggested it was the city manager's idea.
It might have been. It was
Jeff,
in the works when I came. I know that.
Do you have insight into the background?
Yeah. We proposed it through the budget last year. It was the first time the council would have seen it, but we've had a number of discussions with staff over the years, be it Parks and Rec staff. Brenda Nation's our sustainability coordinator, and I think we just realized that we didn't have a good management plan. We were addressing things on kind of an ad hoc basis, whether it was prairie burns or invasive species pulls, but we didn't have a good sense of kind of a long-term vision on how we wanted to maintain those, and frankly, we were becoming concerned that we were losing some of the ecological benefits of those areas. So we really needed some help, some outside help for us to take an inventory of what we had and then provide some professional guidance on how best to take care of that given the resources that we have to work with.
Good deal. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Julie. No questions, I guess, for Julie. Is that right?
I already asked one.
Good, thanks. So discussion.
It's a great idea. I think this is an area that often, because it is a natural area, not conventional park space, that can tend to be ignored, for lack of a better word, because most staff in a Parks and Recreation Department are oriented toward conventional facilities. So I think this is a wonderful idea, the idea of how can these areas be maximized in terms of their value? Because there is again that tendency to sort of, well, they're natural, we don't need to do anything in them, and we know that's not the case. I think I'm really, really supportive of this.
Great. Anyone else? Well, I'm very pleased to support it as well. I'm very pleased to see it come before us. Even though I'm not sure if there's a direct connection, my sense is that this proposal is very consistent with a biodiversity management strategy that several residents submitted to us, I don't know, a year ago? That's vaguely what I'm recalling anyhow. That makes it doubly pleasing to see us have this proposal before us.
It's a great idea.
So hearing no further discussion, roll call?
Mims?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Throgmorton?
Yes.
Botchway?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 8, Housing Trust Fund Contribution. Resolution authorizing the city manager to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Housing Trust Fund of Johnson County for the contribution and use of $500,000 for affordable housing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mims, seconded by Botchway. Anybody out there in the audience want to address this? I don't see anyone. Discussion.
I'm excited. I mean, we're moving forward. We're putting a considerable amount of funding towards an effort that we've identified as a need. I mean, I talked a lot about it, so I don't need to necessarily go into a long diatribe right now, but this is great. So.
Yeah, I mean, we got the closing on the Lynn Court property, which gave us $1 million or whatever for the affordable housing, and I think this is a great way to utilize 500 of this through an organization that has an incredible track record in the community. So thank you, Tracy, for all your work. Tracy Achenbach out in the audience. So look forward to seeing the work with us.
Anyone else?
Just remind the council that you have also already pledged $600,000 towards the senior housing project in Town Crest. So these two alone, over $1 million this year, and that's not even counting some of the CDBG federal programs that we do and the remainder of the Cortland. So pretty significant progress that you all have made this year.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with this as well. I think we all know it's a drop in the bucket, but it's a very big drop. It's an important drop. I'm very excited to have it before us. I'm thrilled we'll be able to assist the Housing Trust Fund. And I want to acknowledge also that Channel 4 has put together a pretty darn good video about the Affordable Housing Action Plan. I just watched it, I don't know, a couple days ago. It's well worth taking a look at. Okay, any further discussion? No. Hearing none, roll call.
Taylor?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Throgmorton?
Yes.
Botchway?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yes.
Mims?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 9, Mid-American Energy Electric franchise. Ordinance renewing the franchise granted to Mid-American Energy Company, its successors and assigns to acquire, construct, erect, maintain, and operate in the city of Iowa City an electric light and power system to furnish, deliver, and sell electric energy to said city and its inhabitants for a period of 10 years. This is second consideration.
Move second consideration.
Second.
Moved by Botchway and seconded by Dickens. Discussion?
I'm just going to indicate for the record that I am supportive of this. About 10 years ago, obviously, we had a really big conversation about this particular topic, and I think the view was that we would have an opportunity to revisit this in 10 years, assuming that there would be any other community member or group that would step forward with this, but that momentum just isn't there, and so I'm supportive of renewing it.
Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call.
Thomas?
Yes.
Throgmorton?
Yes.
Botchway?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yes.
Mims?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 10, Mid-American Energy Gas Franchise. Ordinance renewing the franchise granted to Mid-American Energy Company, its successors and assigns, to acquire, construct, erect, maintain, and operate in the city of Iowa City a natural gas system to furnish, deliver, and sell natural gas to said city and its inhabitants for a period of 10 years. Again, this is second consideration.
Move second consideration.
Second.
Moved by Mims, seconded by Botchway. Discussion? I don't hear any discussion. Roll call.
Throgmorton?
Yes.
Botchway?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yes.
Mims?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 11, Solid Waste Code Amendments. Ordinance amending Title 16, Public Works, Chapter 3, City Utilities, Article H, Solid Waste, to require apartment buildings to provide recycling services to tenants, allow for the curbside collection of food waste, prohibit landfilling of televisions and computer monitors, and require materials being disposed of at the landfill to be secured. This is first consideration.
Move first consideration.
Second.
Moved by Thomas, seconded by Botchway. Chris O'Brien, good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to be here to discuss this. Chris O'Brien, Director of Transportation and Resource Management. In June of this year, we had a work session where we came and we presented several items as part of a waste minimization strategy. What we're here for tonight is really phase one of the implementation of that, which is, as you kind of spelled out, but I'll summarize, mandating the provision of multifamily recycling in Iowa City, providing curbside food waste collection, banning computer monitors and televisions at the landfill, and then a TARP policy to make sure that all loads coming to the landfill are either secured or covered. I guess before we get too far into any questions or if we want to elaborate on any of these, there are several people that have been working on this much longer than I have. And that's Stan Leverman from NDS, Sarah Greenwood-Hectone from the City Attorney's Office, and Jen Jordan spent inordinate amount of time on this. So there's a lot of people, and I'm sure there's several more, but those three have been essential in getting this from an idea to actually in front of you for consideration at this time. So I'm happy to go into any details if there's things. Obviously, we spent a lot of time on it at the June 6th work session, but I can certainly walk through anything you would like some more highlights on.
Maybe just for public consumption, the monitors will go to the east side. So where will people take the monitors?
So I think one of the things we're really, and maybe there's some confusion that what we're saying is we're prohibiting the landfilling of those. They'll still be processed at the landfill, so you'll still bring them out, but we will not allow them to actually be put into the landfill and buried. There's a process for us to take those into, to have those processed by an outside vendor is how we manage that. But we're just not allowing them to go into the actual landfill area and be buried.
Thank you. With regard to multifamily housing
Sure.
and recycling,
that's a
am I
big-
correct in understanding that not every multifamily unit would be subject to this regulation, and that under certain circumstances, a particular structure or property owner would be able to obtain an exception from the code, from the ordinance?
Sure. We'll start off with everyone has to adhere to the policy. Now, there will be exceptions that will be considered as part of the enforcement policy. And the way this is getting rolled out, and that's one of the things I want to make sure we're clear on as well. What this is doing is setting the standard for, much like we do trash, which is required for all multifamily units, regardless if it's a duplex all the way up to a massive high-density structure. What we're saying here is that, so for new developments, the minute this passes, it really brings that into play right away. And January 1 is really the target of what we're looking for to start these. For those that have already been developed, existing units, existing developments, there's going to be a grace period to allow them to come into compliance, and that will be in tune with their rental permit, which is sort of a 2-year window for those. Now, as we get into that evaluation process, we anticipate that there will be some units that come up that we're going to have to make some accommodations for, whether that's not forcing any sort of screening, they just can't comply at all. Do we look at their parking restrictions and what? There's a lot of things we can look at in order to try to make this work, but we anticipate there will be exceptions.
Okay, thanks. And do I understand correctly that this applies to structures that have 4 or more or more than 4 units?
Correct, because currently we already provide through the city 4 and below.
Okay, good. Any other questions for Chris?
Thank you.
Chris. Would anybody else like to address this topic? Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for the time and the opportunity to be able to speak briefly tonight about the importance of apartment recycling here in Iowa City.
Sorry, we need to know your name.
Oh, yeah, sorry. My name is Jamie Porter. I'm a sophomore at the University of Iowa. I'm in the University of Iowa Student Government, and I am majoring in ethics and public policy. I've been in Iowa City all my life. I was born at Mercy Hospital. My home was a block away from Plum Grove. I lived in Slater Residence Hall last year, and now I live in an apartment on South Van Buren Street. As I'm sure as many of you can recall, it is quite a different experience living off campus than it is living on campus in a dorm. I'm responsible for cooking my own food, cleaning my own bathroom, making sure rent is paid on time, among other responsibilities. Although these are new responsibilities, overall I think it's safe to say that I much prefer living off campus than on. However, one difference that I was not made aware of when deciding to live off campus, and something that is a problem where I currently reside, is a lack of recycling and sustainability options for the off-campus apartments. There are no recycling hubs or centers at or near my apartment complex, and this is an issue. If I have something that should be recycled, I have two possible solutions. I can either walk out of my own way to the nearest recycling center and recycle it there, a solution that is both inconvenient and inaccessible to a carless student like myself, or I can do the simpler option and just throw it away in the dumpster behind my apartment complex, like the rest of my trash, which is a solution that is not sustainable or beneficial to the city of Iowa City. That being said, I'm very excited and appreciative of the newly passed ordinance that will require recycling at the apartment complexes here in Iowa City. To eventually have recycling extend to over 10,000 households in Iowa City area is exciting and a tremendous step in the right direction. And for that, I thank you. However, we hope that this ordinance is only the beginning. We hope that this will eventually lead to composting services being available at apartment complexes, increased recycling availability at businesses in downtown Iowa City, and we hope property management companies will not wait for the rental permit process before complying with the ordinance. Thank you once again for the time to speak, the opportunity to express my thoughts, and most importantly, the increase in recycling and sustainability opportunities for apartment dwellers like myself. Thank you. Do I need to sign here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? Good evening, Jake.
Hello, Jacob Simpson from Student Government. I would echo a lot of what Jamie just said, but I'll just touch on a couple of different things. We could have had this room filled with a bunch of students. We had a whole committee from Student Government offering to come, but we needed quorum at our meeting that's going on right now, so they're not here. But in terms of other support, we have just tons of sustainability organizations on campus, student organizations that have just been waiting for this to come. I've also been in a regular communication with the director of the Office of Sustainability, and she's just thrilled. And one of the most amazing things about a university, I think, is that you have thousands of students coming into it, they're learning something, and then they go back out to society. And at the university, we have the opportunity for students to recycle in the dorms, practice something that they've learned, and then a lot of times they have to go off campus, and they don't have that ability to practice what they've become accustomed to. And so I think now that the city has taken the step to provide this in off-campus buildings, we can not just see a benefit to Iowa City, but I think this is going to be something that benefits probably the state and beyond as people become more accustomed to recycling. So I just wanted to thank you, and hopefully we can see, as Jamie said, composting in the future, and yeah, those things. So thanks.
Thank you, Jake. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, discussion.
Just glad to see us moving forward on a number of these initiatives that we've talked about for quite a while.
Yeah.
So it's just the first step.
Well, I'm absolutely thrilled with this achievement. I think of achievements this year, our affordable housing plan, and this, it just is at the top. And I want to commend our staff. In particular, the staff has done a wonderful job because you guys are the ones that have to figure out the details. And I know that actually is very difficult to do. And the way that you did this, how thorough it is, I'm amazed at how good the work you did. But in particular, the students, to me, this is also a model. This is your victory as well. I think you guys have been advocating this for several years. Our previous staff has done the pilot projects to sort of assess some of the feasibility of making this happen. And so just thank you so much for the work that you've done. I see Evan out there. I know he called for this almost 4 years ago, and thank you as well. I'm just thrilled, and it's just nice to have a wonderful event like this. As I said, picking between the affordable housing and this night, it's hard to decide what makes me want to celebrate more. I was thinking of doing a shout out like Kingsley did that night, but I'll defer. So great work, everyone. I'm really thrilled with it.
Any type of celebration about this is happening at Terry's house. Right
Yeah.
after the council meeting.
Terry will have a composting party, right?
I just give a solid obviously, you mentioned Evan being in the audience with the Superman shirt, and so I feel like that's an apt kind of tie into some of the work that's been going on, especially the work by Jen Jordan and staff. And so, you know, this is a good night for me, so I'm excited.
Yeah, big thanks to staff, Stan, Jen, and Sarah that were mentioned. I'm sure many others participated. It's wonderful to hear the enthusiasm, the students providing leadership on this as well. It's kind of funny talking and getting so excited about trash collection, but you know,
it's exciting stuff.
It's really exciting stuff. What can I say? So yeah, it's a good night for recycling.
Well, I think it's important to repeat the names of a couple people who have done such good work on this: Evan McCarthy and Jen Jordan. But not just Evan, because there were other student body liaisons, UISG liaisons, who made similar pitches over the past several years. I've forgotten their names. Help me out. You guys remember names.
Nikki.
Nikki
really put me
that's
on the
right.
spot there, Mayor.
Nikki Neal, right, was one.
Doesn't remember his kid's name.
Cody Graham.
Evan, do you
Alec
remember
Bramall.
a couple?
Yep.
Adam?
Alec.
Alec, yeah, Alec Bramall, yeah. So anyhow, a shout out to them as well. Maybe they can see this on, I don't know, YouTube or something. Anyhow, bravo. I don't hear any other discussion.
Wow, it's awesome.
Yeah. Roll call.
Botchway?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yes.
Mims?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Throckmorton?
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Motion to accept correspondence.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Botchway, seconded by Dickens. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, item 12, council parking. Ordinance amending Title III, Finances, Taxation, and Fees. Chapter 4, Schedule of Fees, Rates, Charges, Bonds, Fines, and Penalties. Section 8, Parking Violations. To add a description to parking ramp fees, stating that council members will receive parking permits at no charge, and to change the title of the section to Parking. First consideration.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Botchway, seconded by Dickens. Discussion.
I just think it's very important that the council is able to park here because they are called in at all different hours. I know I've never chosen to use it since I already work downtown. I continued paying the public parking, but I see a need for it because there's so many times that we don't all live and work downtown, that it's very important that you have a place when you're called to these meetings, that you have a place to park, and it's reasonable to expect that of our council.
I agree. Further discussion? Roll call.
Cole?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yes.
Mims?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Throckmorton?
Yes.
Botchway?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 13, council appointments. No applications have been received, and the vacancies, certain vacancies will be re-advertised, and they have to do with the Airport Zoning Commission, Airport Zoning Board of Adjustment, and Historic Preservation Commission, and in particular, it's a Jefferson Street representative. Item 14, announcement of vacancies. Applicants for these positions must reside in Iowa City and be 18 years of age unless specific qualifications are stated. Should I read the rest of this that was all highlighted in yellow? Yeah. So there are vacancies on numerous commissions, and this is the moment, I guess, this and our last meeting are the moment when we first get into this new cycle of appointments to commissions and boards. So we changed that process several months ago, so we're now just entering the change that we agreed to. So the vacancies involve the Board of Appeals, the Board of Adjustment, the Human Rights Commission, the Parks and Recreation Commission, Public Art Advisory Committee, the Senior Center Commission, and the Telecommunications Commission. And applications for those positions, which can be found on our website, the city's website, or at the city clerk's office, Applications must be received by 5 p.m. Wednesday, October 26th of this year. There's also one vacancy on the Senior Center Commission, and applications for that vacancy must be received by 5 p.m. Wednesday, November the 9th of this year. Item 16, City Council information. So just to remind the audience, we recently changed our work session agenda, the set of topics that we address in the work session agenda, and decided to shift a few of those into this particular moment on our formal meeting agenda. So City Council information will include subtopics like meeting schedule, pending work session topics, upcoming community events, council invitations, and related matters that are of interest to the council and public. So we could start, I don't know, Rockne, you want to go first?
We can just make announcements too.
Yeah.
Okay, for
yeah.
upcoming events. Okay, well, I'm going to continue to remind the public about the Jeff Speck presentation, October 24th, 2016 at 6:30 p.m. at the Iowa City Public Library. Jeff is a fabulous speaker. He covers a lot of very hot topics like street design, walkability, bikeability. He's very engaging, and so I'm really looking forward to this. I've seen his YouTube presentations a lot too, so it'll be nice to actually see a real Jeff Speck presentation, so I'm really excited about that.
Is that
So
it?
I'll come, that's all.
All
That's
right.
all I have.
Mr. Dickens.
Got to attend Book of Mormons this weekend, saw a lot of city staff was out there. It's great to see Hampshire in its full glory again.
Yes,
Chuck
it's a
Swanson
pretty
was
impressive
going
place.
around shaking hands. He's got to be proud of that. Englert continues to surpass most people's expectations of what a small theater can do. They're just putting on some great shows. Got to see John Hyatt a week or so ago, and just the storytelling of the man. He grew up in Indiana. He's a legend, and for us to get him in Iowa City is very important. I know they have another big project coming up shortly, but we're lucky in Iowa City. We gotta love that.
Yep. Kingsley.
So I want to focus on a couple of things. Two things coming up is Step Africa is happening on Thursday. I believe I'll be going to that.
Going to it?
All right, good deal.
Yep, stay there.
All right. I'm just kind of amazed. This is I think I have 3 events or 4 events scheduled, so this is my first one, so I'm pretty excited. Farmers Market, last 2 weekends, and so I'll be out there perusing the food. I haven't been there as much recently, but I plan on being out there a little bit because I've injured myself again, and so I won't be able to play basketball in the morning like I usually do. And then last but not least, I really had a great, there's 2 things. Oh, actually, sorry. The last thing is a bunch of us, I believe, went to the meeting this morning, the ICAD campaign breakfast. I wasn't able to stay for the whole thing, and so I think there's other counselors that may be able to speak to the finality of it, but I thought it was a really good job by the speaker. I briefly talked to Susan about how his point struck, the speaker's point, Ernesto, struck home with me because of my dad being African and talking about some of the things that happen when it comes to other countries and where we always feel like we have that knowledge or know how to step into situations where we don't necessarily have the community's buy-in. And so I really appreciated that, and it helped me it galvanized me to think about some things that I'm even working on to ensure that I'm getting that community input ahead of time. And just as counselors, made me remember that, that's important as we go about this work. And then last but not least, was able to participate in the Unitarian Universalist Church of Iowa City. They're currently building their new church, and so we went to the Sanctuary Church location, and they had a wonderful program that I was able to participate as a panel discussion where we talked about the Ta-Nehisi Coates, Between the World and Me. I thought it was amazing that they brought that book up as a book to talk about social justice issues. Everything I wouldn't even, the panel discussion, it was just me talking and some other folks talking, Mike Cassell from Cedar Rapids and Michael Shaw, but I really appreciated the things that the church said to really facilitate the discussion. one stating pretty clearly that, we're just 3 African-American men talking about this, and we don't necessarily speak for the entire black community, and also providing members of the church, once we left the conversation, to do something about what they've learned or what we discussed. And, frequently I think we have meetings that we've attended around social justice issues, and I think that's been somewhat of the action steps that people have taken. But I just really appreciated the church doing that particular step and having that particular conversation, especially about such a book that really is a visceral book talking about, the current state of a lot of things that are going on in our nation. So I thought it was great.
Susan?
Had the opportunity, as Kingsley and Jim did, to go to the Building and Crossing Bridges presentations last week. Jim was involved in the afternoon session and Kingsley in the evening session, so thank you to both of you. It'd be nice to get a little broader representation of the community at some of these events. Kingsley and I were kind of talking about that earlier. Unfortunately, sometimes it's the same people that we get out to some of these things, and trying to get a broader audience and have that conversation going with more people, I think would be really helpful. Last night had the opportunity to participate, and again, I think we all got the invitation, but to the ICAD and UI Alumni Association kind of fall welcoming session that they did at the Cedar Ridge Winery. So connected with a number of people from the Cedar Rapids area, other people new to this area. Just a real nice get-together of trying to connect people to the new people in the area to help them feel more comfortable, help them make connections to different things, and to kind of kick off the initiation of their new program, which I love the name of it. It's called the Wingman Program. As I said, if you go back to Top Gun, okay, it's the wingman when the guys are out dating, their wingman. Well, this is being the wingman to new people in the community and helping them to, connect to things and make those connections so they feel comfortable and want to stay. And hopefully then also serve as recruiters to bring other people here who have only thought about Iowa as, as the flyover state. So that was really good. And again, as Kingsley mentioned, the breakfast this morning, I thought there was a lot of good thoughts presented there. So I think we've got a busy fall. I know in our late handouts, I don't know if everybody had a chance to see it, the State Housing Trust Fund, I don't know if it's
Friday, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's tomorrow at 3. So I don't know if anybody can go based on affordable housing stuff. It's at 1900 Rochester Court, I think it was. So it's in our late packet.
We have 2 council members.
We do? Okay, good. So yeah, we're getting towards the end of October. We're going to start getting into that busy holiday season. It's getting dark earlier, so ask all bicyclists to make sure they are well lit up and make sure all vehicle drivers are extra cautious out there in the evenings. Thanks.
I'll just say a few words about the breakfast this morning. I thought that was a very interesting presentation by Ernesto, and I don't recall his last name, but
Cirelli, yeah.
Who was really speaking about economic development.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found interesting is that my background is more what I would call community development, and I found the concepts that he was presenting were easily applied to the notion of building community. And in my conversations with Mark Nolte, I've always emphasized that's what I hope to bring to ICAD, is that the development of the economy is not only developing businesses, but developing the sense of place and community in which those businesses would like to locate. And so I just found it very interesting that the presentation today, in an indirect way, was speaking to that, I thought, in a very, very effective presentation.
Susan mentioned the Housing Trust Fund event tomorrow. I'm looking forward to attending that, and I think that it also highlights and shows that there are folks out there that are paying attention to our initiatives and our actions that we are doing towards providing affordable housing for all folks in the area, not only for lower income folks who people think about, but the seniors and the disabled folks also. And last Thursday, I was happy to attend the Iowa City Johnson County Senior Center's appreciation event. It was a wonderful event, and also it was sort of an appreciation for their 35 years of service. And it's amazing. I didn't realize they'd been providing the service to the community for that long. And I would encourage people to, if you're not a member, to join the Senior Center, and if you are a member, to look through your pamphlets and participate in some of their activities, because it's a great thing. And congratulations to them on their 35 years.
All right. I'm glad both of you can go up to that event tomorrow. I want to mention a couple items and then remind us all that we have to discuss the pending work session topics before we take off tonight. We've got to be clear about what we want to have appear on November 1st work session. And we'll get to that in a second. So a couple or three things I would mention are, first, the Human Rights Breakfast is going to take place on Wednesday, October the 26th at 7:15 a.m. in the Iowa Memorial Union. Diane Finnerty is going to make the keynote address, and I'm really looking forward to what Diane has to say. Also, we have a joint entities meeting at 4:30 p.m. on Monday, the 24th of October. I mentioned that mainly in the context of Jeff Speck, because Jeff will also be making about a half-hour presentation to our colleagues in the other cities and county and so on. There's going to be a ribbon cutting for the Voxman Music Building on Friday, October the 21st at 4:30 p.m. And I guess I'd also like to say that I really enjoyed attending the Center for Worker Justice's Gala fundraiser on October the 14th at St. Patrick's Church. And Father Rudy and others did a superb job of setting that space up. It's the large, Terry, you know it really well, I guess, that large space, community space. And it was really pleasing to walk in there and hear, I don't know, Latino music being played and sung, and
it's beautiful.
The lighting was gorgeous, and it was just a real treat. Okay, so those are the things I wanted to mention. Beyond that, we should discuss our pending work session topics. So I guess we can do that right now and then see if you have anything to contribute, or Simon or Eleanor or Marion. So pending work session topics, there are like 4 possibilities, right, Jeff?
Yeah, if I could walk you through that. It's on your 1013 info packet. IP3 has the projected topics for November 15th, December 6th, and then everything else that's not scheduled. November 1st did not have anything pegged for it, but there are 4 potential items that I'd like to run by you. And with the November 1st work session, there will be a couple of council members who will be representing the city in Ankeny that afternoon and probably won't be back in time for a 5 o'clock start, so we were going to suggest a 5:30 start. So that initial window is getting a bit shorter, but earlier tonight you indicated that you'd like to have the food truck discussion on the November 1st agenda and the downtown work session discussion on that agenda. Staff has a couple of other items that we would like to propose to you. One is the Climate Change Task Force. This has been before you at previous meetings, and we're to the point where we're ready to release an RFP for a facilitator, as we have previously discussed. However, staff has been having considerable discussions internally and want to make sure that you understand the path that we're going down and an alternative process that would be available to you. Depending on the process that we choose, you'd probably get 2 very different outcomes in terms of the deliverable. And so in short, with the facilitator, I think you're going to get something, you're going to produce something that's very similar to what the Ad Hoc Diversity Committee produced or the Ad Hoc Senior Center Committee produced. It's usually not a very technical type of committee work, but it's more identifying areas that need some attention and providing some general guidance. A lot of cities for climate change type of planning will take a much more technical approach and really dive into carbon emissions and evaluating different strategies, and we're just not sure that we can produce that type of outcome with a general committee. The plans that Brenda has been reviewing from other cities really rely on an outside consultant. So we want to walk you through those two different paths before we issue the RFP and make sure you're comfortable with where we're going, because once we set that path, it's going to be hard to change course. So that's just kind of us touching base with you and making sure that we have a good understanding of what you want this process to produce. And then finally, we believe that we will be getting an application for the redevelopment of the property along the interstate on North Dubuque Street, commonly referred to as the Forest View area, in the next 30 to 60 days. You have in your strategic plan a priority that talks about the development of our gateways, including this property, in a manner consistent with your strategic plan. And prior to the application being submitted, I think it would be a good idea for staff to present to you the current comp plan, and then to give you a chance to articulate to staff and to the public what you really mean with that language in your strategic plan, and the types of issues that you're going to be looking for, again, through that lens of your strategic plan. So again, it wouldn't be presenting any development concepts to you. We would talk about the comp plan as it stands today, and then really give you a chance to articulate your hopes for that property and some of the questions that you would expect to have as a proposal comes forward. Those are all four pretty big issues in and of themselves. So whether you want to tackle all of them on one night or you want to push a few, that's up to you.
I believe we should discuss development of Forest View as you described it, and I strongly believe that we should discuss the climate change task force so we can be clear to the staff about what direction to take. So, I mean, there are two other topics too, but those two I think are, feel like a higher priority at this particular moment. But maybe we can do them all in one night too. I don't know. But, so
could we
let's think about
bifurcate
it.
the work session and do after the meeting?
Sure. I mean, you could list all of them on the work session, and if the evening stretches uncomfortably long, you can always defer something as well. You just want to be cognizant if these items each have constituents that would want to hear those discussions. So if your goal is to tackle them all, I think that's fine. But yeah, you can take some after the regular meeting.
I guess that's, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I mean, to me, I think of the four, I would tend to put the food truck one as the lowest priority. Simply, I mean, it hasn't been in front of us, and to me, simply because we got a memo from them today, to me, does not make it the highest priority for what we need to be looking at. I understand where they're coming from. We're not going to get anything done on that till they're looking at some pretty cold weather to do a pilot project anyways. So I would not have any problem putting that one off. The other three, yeah, I think it's kind of hard to prioritize between the other three.
Well, we don't have a lot, I don't know what our next agenda will be, but if it's as short as this, we're going to have more time to work on work session if we have to do it afterwards as well. So I don't, from what I see, that we're just going through a lot of things with second readings on most of these things. There won't be a lot of discussion on those items, so.
We
I think
did
try to
set
get
it.
the three of those.
We did set a couple significant public hearings, or at least one. I'm trying to look at them now. One's the proposed storefront design and signage ordinance for downtown, and the other is rezoning for those South Gilbert Street properties. So I don't know if those will take a lot of time.
Could we
or not.
schedule the food truck after the meeting and the other three during the regular work session?
I think
My
those
thought.
three are too much for even before.
See what
I
we
was
get
thinking
to.
about picking 2 of them to do before and 1 of them to do after and not trying to do the food truck. I think 4 is too many.
I think it does seem to depend, as Terry mentioned, on our formal agenda. I mean, if that's short, then, I would try to cover as much ground as we can.
It's always hard to predict how long or short it'll be because of the community comment aspect, but the 2 public hearings will probably require some fairly detailed staff presentations and some good discussion amongst council. We'll have the bike master plan on to present to you, a consultant contract for that. I'm not aware of anything beyond that would take considerable time. I think if we started at 5:30 and we dedicated a half hour to the North Dubuque and a half hour to downtown, knowing that we have a little bit of flexibility, I think we could accomplish that and then push the climate task force to the post-meeting work session. That shouldn't take very long, and I'm not aware of any constituent groups that would come to listen to that discussion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. My guess is that particular discussion won't take terribly long either.
Right.
Yeah, does that sound reasonable?
Let's shoot for all 4.
Okay.
All 4, am I hearing?
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, what's the vote?
Because what were the 2 you
I
just
thought we
said?
already agreed on
What was the
food
2 you
truck.
just said? You said 30
I think
minutes
we
from-
would start probably with North Dubuque and the downtown, and then after that, we would do climate change and food trucks, if in that order, I suppose.
I'm fine with that.
I think if we can, I don't see any reason not to.
Well, I think if we put it on the agenda, we have to.
Well,
But it can be an abbreviated discussion and then come back to it.
Which is probably
You
what the
can
food
always
truck, we're
defer
going to get more information anyway, so I think that's how we kind of left it, is we're going to get more information on
Right.
the food truck, So that shouldn't
Shouldn't
take
be long.
time. So let's try all 4. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. So let's do it 2 before, 2 after, have roughly half hour for each of the 2 before.
Not getting any younger.
We probably want to just list them in order, though,
Yeah.
because if you do just we don't want to cut off the beforehand, so we'll just put them all on, and in that order, you'll move through them.
Yeah.
Jim, Jeff, you recommended those 2 already, and so the 2 being the North Dubuque Street.
And
Downtown.
and downtown.
And downtown.
And then climate change.
Climate change and food truck.
But Eleanor, you said we could, like, if it gets to be, heaven forbid, 11:30 at night, we can
You can
defer.
defer, and you can always just say, we need to defer this to the next.
Right, okay.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else to be brought up under the city council information?
Well, on this change of format, I wasn't quite sure where
Yeah.
this fell, but,
Getting used to it, I know.
there was the letter from
The students.
the student liaisons regarding, tenant relations and housing quality, which I thought was a very thoughtful letter. And I didn't know where that stood, if there was, staff was thinking there would be a response to that.
I communicated with Jeff about that, and Jeff has some thoughts. And
We're setting up a meeting with Stan Lauberman and Ben and Jacob to
Okay.
discuss it. And if you all want a written response after that, we can certainly provide that too.
See how the discussion goes.
Yeah. See if there are any remaining questions after that, or if student government maybe has some recommendations to make.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Sounds to me like we need to ask Jeff if there's anything Jeff wants to report.
There's, a growing community interest in the police chief position, so just to update everybody, we have semifinalist candidates that will be interviewed here this week and next week. If you want to see the interview panel, you can log on to the city's website and search police chief and see the team we've assembled to meet the semifinalist candidates, and then hopefully soon after that, we'll advance to the finalist stage, and at that point, we'll release the names of the finalists and schedule an opportunity for the community to interact with the finalist candidates. So we're moving along. Hopefully, my goal is to finish up these semifinalist interviews next week and move to the finalist stage second week of November and wrap this thing up.
We all know this is an extremely important appointment, and you know it better than we do, I think.
I've been reminded of that every day for the last probably 4 months, yes.
Okay, Simon.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Eleanor? Marion? Okay, I think that means we shall adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Nope. Oh, yeah.
Moved by Mims.
Second.
Second by Botchway and Dickens.
Third.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We are.
You're watching City Channel 4. On TV, online, on demand, on Facebook, and now on the go on your mobile device.